So when I started as a photographer, I didn't have anyone to take pictures of. So I took pictures of myself. And it developed into an important mark for certain milestones in my life. Now we're in Provo, Utah, at my first ever solo photography exhibition. And I'm gonna show you how I do a self-portrait with Capture One. So we've got my setup. I have a location, a place to sit, a way to view the camera, my light, and something to capture the image with. And so let's first bring this a little closer. Let's turn back on live view. And I think I want to be about here. And I can see from my silhouette, I'm a lot closer now, a little more prominent in the frame. The great thing about having a digiplate is that I can mount my laptop to this and it's pretty secure. You don't need this. When I started, I didn't have this, and I would just put my computer on a chair or something. It is a little bit expensive. It's a $600 piece of metal, but it is worth it. I think to make it a little easier to focus and have everything back here also be in range, I'm gonna take this up to f11, which means my ISO needs to be at 2000. So in this composition, I want to make sure that I am the focus, but that there is a story that you can discover through the composition. So I'm obviously the subject of the photograph, but as you look through, you also see me over here in the background that tells you this is my gallery. And we have some leading lines with this perspective going into the corner where you can see my other prints. And all these lines here on the floor kind of push me into the focus. So I'm using a strobe because I want to be able to control and shape the light. Obviously, there's a lot of ambient light. If I turn this off, you'll be able to see what I'm working with. I'm dark. In fact, I am purely silhouette. And in order to light me properly, I could use the house lights, which aren't gonna be super flattering. So I'm gonna use a strobe and a softbox. When I first started, this took all day. And now that I consistently use the same lighting setup for every self-portrait in order to create cohesiveness across the years, it's gotten a lot faster. This whole process could be done if I didn't tether, but it's a lot more difficult. So tethering gives me the solution of being able to live view my composition without having to go back and forth to the camera. So if I sit, I can see myself in the frame, obviously, and I can make adjustments as needed without having to actually take a picture. Okay, now that we've got the lighting and general composition dialed in, I'm going to dial in my color and make some adjustments. So I'm going to paste a style over top. I'm just gonna hit Command 2, which is where I have that programmed. Noticing first it's a little bit too contrasty. So I'm gonna turn it off and just dial that in until it feels right. Toggle that on and off. That feels pretty good. And then the color is nice, but I'm noticing this is way too dark for me. And so I'm just gonna come in here with another adjustment layer. I'm gonna take my AI brush and I'm going to bring up the exposure on this. Not too much. I don't want to blow out the highlights up here, but I notice it's a little dark on the way down, so I'm going to hit Command Control 4, which is a style brush that I have. This is a Recover Shadows brush. I'm just gonna paint the bottom of this so that the shadows come back and it's not super dark on the bottom. The great thing about this is if I sit down and take another portrait, My color adjustments and my AI masks will be pasted to the next composition if my strobe goes off. Great. So I can see, even though I took a new picture, all my masks and adjustments are pasted to the next capture. Pretty happy with this adjustment. And now any more pictures that we take will have these adjustments pasted onto them automatically. So I'm gonna take my seat. Great. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. What I want to work on is the color of my sweater. If I hit Shift, comma, that'll create a subject mask. Does a pretty good job of masking me out. So I'm gonna go into the advanced color panel, select my dropper, select the shirt, and then just so I see what I'm affecting, I'm gonna max it out. See, that is gonna affect this area. I'm gonna shift the hue more towards cyan. I can expand the smoothness so it rolls off better into the shadows. And then I'm gonna drop that saturation down. Obviously that would be way too much. Make this a little lighter so I have some more detail. That feels pretty good. Compared to the wall, that feels a little bit less like an indigo sweater. There's less contrast between these two. So this is what we started with. And there's our edit. We're gonna do another subject mask. I'm going to call this skin tone. I'm gonna take it down to 70%. So if I really like it, I can increase the intensity without having to change any of the settings. So I'm going over to my color editor now. I'm gonna toggle skin tone, use my dropper, select my skin tone. First, I'm just going to drag this saturation all the way to the top. And I don't want my skin to look that saturated, but it allows me to see the hue, and I can shift that more pink or more yellow. My skin tone is a little bit more pink in reality, and so I am going to shift this hue. So now my skin is looking a little bit more pink. I'm going to take the saturation down to normal. If I had problems with a lot of hue variance across my skin, blotchiness or something like that, redness, I could take the hue uniformity and make my skin all the same hue or the saturation. All these things will help you unify it. I kind of like the variance because it feels natural. So instead, I'm going to dial in the saturation by first dropping it to -30 or 0, or the least amount that I can. And then I'm just going to bring it in until it feels about right. That feels pretty good, a -5. And now there's life to my skin. It looks realistic to how I appear in real life. What I love about the skin tone panel is that it allows for extremely precise micro adjustments. And when it comes to complexion, that is really how it should be done. So now we're gonna go and do our before and after. This is where we started with this image. It was great, it was close, but I really wanted to fine tune these adjustments, and this is where we ended up. Now, the most noticeable adjustment that I see is going to be in the color of the wall, as well as the color of this sweater and the brightness of this frame in the background. And those are the sort of small touches that I like to incorporate into my work to add an overall level of cohesiveness. This would be a lot harder without a tethering solution because I'd take the picture and then I'd have to make all these adjustments at a later time after I was done with the photo shoot. So now I've shown you how I do my self-portraits. You don't need all this stuff, right? You can get by with a far simpler setup and just a remote. However, this is a really important part of my origin story. I really enjoy the meaning behind these self-portraits, and so through the years I've developed a easier process for this type of work. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to share this with you, and I hope that you give it a shot doing your own self-portrait.